Russian protesters detained at pro-Navalny rallies say police threatened and intimidated them. The regime has shown its teeth. Moscow CNN. Do you know that we can beat you so hard that you will be urinating blood and there won't be any traces. You won't be able to prove anything. Peter Sokopuch recalls a police officer screaming into his face as he found himself in a tiny room with six security officers in the St. Petersburg police station. Just a few hours before this scene, in Russia's second largest city, Sokovich was detained on January 31st for taking part in the demonstration in support of jailed Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny. Sokovich says the detention was sudden and harsh. He was checking his phone as someone he believed to be a plainclothes officer pushed him onto the road. Sokovich said he was then grabbed by his hair and caught by men in protective equipment and dragged into a police van. What followed, says Sokovich, was an eternity of questioning. He said the police were trying to make him crack, to forcibly confess to being paid by a foreign agent to attend the rally. Russia, Russia has repeatedly blamed the United States for fueling the protest. We will lock you for 5 years. We will put you in a cell where an inmate will rape you again and again. Is this what you want? No? Then tell us. Sokovsky said the officer demanded. Alena Kitaeva, a volunteer for Navalny's key ally, Lyubov Sobor, ended up in a room with the four police officers in Moscow, one of whom put a plastic bag over her head and threatened to choke her unless she gives up a password for her phone. Her colleague and Sovor's representative Olga Kuryukinikova told CNN after the interrogation Alena was sentenced to 12 days in jail. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said when asked about Kitaeva's case in a daily conference call with journalists, if what she described really happened, then she should have filed a lawsuit. Kitaeva is certainly currently still in jail. Sokovsky and several other protesters who spoke with CNN alleged mistreatment by security forces, including violence, threat, intimidation, and being crammed in vans or shells. CNN has reached out to the Russian Interior Military Ministry for comment on allegations of violence and overcrowding. The Interior Ministry, which oversees police forces in the country, did not respond. In recent weeks, Russian authorities have detained around 11,000 people at demonstrations to support Navalny, according to OVD Info, an independent site that monitored the arrest. Some are let go after a few hours, But in Moscow and St. Petersburg, detention centers quickly ran out of space, forcing detainees to wait inside buses for hours on end without basic necessities. Sakovsky was finally released, but worries that charges can be drawn up against him later. Ivan Klementiev was out on assignment as a news photographer covering demonstrations in Moscow on January 31st when riot police detained, electroshocked and clubbed, clubbed him with batons, splitting his temple open, his wife told CNN. He was then put in the police van and had to wait hours to get medical help, his wife says. Philip Kopnetsov, an entrepreneur, felt compelled to take part when Navalny's team called to protest for the first time and was detained on January 23rd in Moscow. Kuznetsov said he then spent over 19 sleepless hours in a crowded police van waiting for an available space in a detention center. It was cold and the van was so packed that at any given moment someone had to stand up, so they took turns, he told CNN. Throughout, none of his bandmates slept, and food and water was supplied by a human rights group, he said. Both Kuznetsov and Klementiev appeared in court after 2 days of detention. Judges sentenced them each to 10 days in jail for taking part in unauthorized rallies. Both end up at the Sakharovo facility on the outskirts of Moscow, normally used as a detention center for foreign nationals. You look at those white concrete walls in Sakharovo, and that's when you get really scared. Kuznetsov said. You think to yourself, that's it, the regime has shown its teeth. You understand that you have been thrust into a place like this, after which you will definitely not to go to rally again. This is full-on hell. Footage from Sakharov detention facility shows bleak conditions inside. Metal framed bed bunked with no mattresses and open latrine. There was also no social distancing and few masks, despite the fact members of Navalny's team have been placed under house arrest for allegedly violating sanitation rules during the coronavirus pandemic for calling for protest. Russian journalists pressed the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov in a conference call with the reporters to comment on what one journalist called probably the biggest repressions modern Russia has seen, citing mass detentions and mistreatment of journalists covering the protest. I don't agree with you. There are no repressions in Russia, Peskov said. There are only measures taken by the police against the violators of law, against the participant of unauthorized rallies, Peskov added. Peskov admitted that there are more detainees than can be processed, but that harsh police steps are justified in accordance with the law. Poor conditions. Conditions at Sakharovo caused the public outrage after Sergei Smirnov, the editor-in-chief of the independent news outlet Mediazona that covers the justice system and human rights violations in Russia, shared pictures showing how he was crammed into a cell with 27 other people after being sentenced to jail in Sakharovo for 25 days. Smirnov's crime was retweeting a joke about himself, which the court rules as having incited participation in an authorized rally. He maintains he is innocent and did not even attend the demonstration. In the video message to CNN provided by his cellmate Dmitry Seromentsev, Smirnov described the conditions he and his fellow inmates were in. After photos and videos were posted onto social media illustrating the poor conditions, Smirnov and Sheremetyev were moved into a cell with fewer people. Outside Sakharovo, friends and family of detainees have been lining up in freezing temperature, hoping to pass water and food to their loved ones. Telegram chat has been set up by volunteers to connect people with detained relatives and to coordinate the effort to supply them with essentials. Alexander Gorovach, a lawyer with Navalny's anti-corruption foundation who spent 3 days in a tiny cell at a police station before getting to Sakharovo, said the help was essential. The first day we were there, they didn't give us any food because it was just not there, and what we had the next day assured us we can't rely on this. It was a mockery. Huge bowls containing the tiniest layer of porridge. Soko Pichk said the intimidation and the treatment he faced by the police captures why so many people have been taken to the street in protest. People protest for basic human rights, the right to a fair trial. Navalny has come to personify the absence of such right, and the fact that everything happens in violation of all norms and rules. It's already happening so blatantly that it just spit in our faces. People cannot put up with it.